What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Scythe, and today we're going to be doing a special video that is not related to last week's developer livestream, though we will most likely have that video coming out tomorrow, and then I'm probably going to end up having some other videos that are going to be splitting apart and kind of taking a peek at all of the things that the devs have been talking about lately, because they've been giving us a lot more hints towards U10. The recent dev stream ended up actually talking a little bit more in detail about Crystal Gear, but there is a video, which is the one that we're doing today, which is long overdue. I should have done this video last week, but I've been busy. Where TroveSaurus, the website that's responsible for pretty much all of the mods and everything like that, it's a really great website. You should check it out if you're on the PC version of Trove. It's really awesome. They're the guys that also invented the TroveTools.net tool, which for those of you that aren't using Steam Workshop mods, that's pretty much the only other way that we can end up using mods effectively, I'll say, right? But they ended up actually having an interview with the Trove developers, so that's what we're going to be going through today. It probably shouldn't, it shouldn't be a very long video or anything, but there is a lot of really cool stuff that they did end up talking about that I feel is noteworthy. And I want to give a shout out to my man Merc, because he kind of brought this to my attention and also kind of summarized some of the more important topics, which is what we're going to end up talking about here today. I will put a link in the description to the original post if you guys and gals want to actually read it for yourselves. But otherwise, first and foremost, they said that when the Surface of Geode releases, this is going to be the U10 update, which essentially is phase 2 of the Geode updates, which I'll go into a little bit more detail in that a little bit later in the video. But they said that they will have access to 3 different sub-biomes with their own distinct style, attention to lighting, colors, and resources. So more than likely they're talking about the Geode area, which we've since been able to surmise that it's going to end up essentially just being another elemental world. That's all I can really figure it's going to end up being, just based on the way that they've talked about it and everything. It just generally sounds like we're going to get a new elemental world that is going to be available. Whoops, this dungeon's already done. An elemental world that's going to be available from U8 and up, because they've said that the Geode surface is going to be kind of its own unique area, and then U10 is going to end up being something kind of separate. Honestly, I'm not sure whether or not the elemental worlds will all go up to U10, or if U10 is going to be its own unique adventure portal, because they have actually talked about a few exciting things in regards to it. Just to give a sneak peek, which again, we're going to be talking about this in a different video, but they have actually talked about 5-star dungeons. So we'll talk about that in another video, but just to put it into perspective, maybe this is going to end up being something different than just the elemental worlds going up to a whole new difficulty. You know what I mean? So the fact that they say there's 3 different sub-biomes makes me curious, because with the devs track record, and I don't mean to sound like overly critical here or anything, but with the devs track record, I think that this is more to be misleading us into believing that there's more content than there is. I wouldn't feel this way, except when they talk about sub-biomes, like technically you look at the Neon City biome, right? And we've got the new Luminopolis, and that's a sub-biome. That's what they call a sub-biome. But they ended up doing a pretty good job with fitting the Luminopolis version of the Neon City biome together very well. And though they're generated very differently, even in the Forbidden Spires that you saw we were in 2 seconds ago, technically there's 3 different versions of the Forbidden Spires that can generate. Are those considered sub-biomes? Like this right here is a sub-biome, and technically you could say, oh, there's 2 sub-biomes for the Neon City, because we got the Luminopolis with all these skyscrapers and stuff, and then we got just the normal Neon City, which has been out since like beta or something like that, you know what I mean? So it's like, are they really trying to imply that there's going to be 3 different distinct sub biomes that ultimately is just to try and make it sound like they're doing more work than one new biome, which I personally think that it's just going to be one new biome. And then to kind of go into the point here where they say that there's new resources, unfortunately it is confirmed that the Geode area is going to end up having different plants and different ore that is completely unrelated to the Geode caving system, which that was phase 1 of the Geode update. Phase 2 is going to be the one that we're getting later in the year in the winter, which is going to be U10, and then Phase 3 is most likely going to be the version where they introduce a new group of Titan bosses that is kind of to go with the whole Geode lore that nobody really cares about. So up next is when U10 comes out, there's going to be a golden thread. Golden thread, for those of you that don't know, is pretty much the tutorial that shows up in the form of quests in the top right. And they're going to have that for gems. So that should be pretty cool that they'll actually have an in-game tutorial kind of explaining the gem system. Ultimately, I don't think that it's going to end up doing a very good job because there's not really any tutorials in this game. That's, that's why my tutorials are actually as popular as they are, because this game does not really explain things well. But we'll see. I do still think it's good that the game actually is finally getting something like that, but they could really stand to have a much more in-depth tutorial about lots of this stuff. But then again, that's what YouTube videos are for. And then apparently Undertow, speaking of the new Titan bosses, Undertow is going to be the final boss of the Geode area, which, I don't know, it seems like they're moving attention away from Daughter of the Moon and everything to do with the current tutorial that's in the game. It seems like they just completely abandoned that project for the sake of the Geode lore, again, that nobody really cares about because it's a bunch of weird, gross aliens and stuff. But anyways, Undertow and all of his minions will have a dark, corrupt sea look. So I'm hoping that that means that not only are they going to look really cool, but I'm hoping that they're going to have some video effects very similar to, if I was by one, but kind of the same as the enemies that are outside of recipe dungeons. You know how they have shadow video effects on them and stuff like that. I would hope that we have something like that, but a little bit more intimidating. Maybe kind of like octopuses and Cthulhu type of things and stuff like that, which more than likely we will, because they've implied very greatly that the Geode area is going to have like tentacles and stuff like that. Or maybe it's not the Geode area, maybe that's going to be related to U10, who knows. They also said that they are trying to bring mods to consoles. There's no promises on that one though, so don't hold your breath. But I do think that is really, really cool if they can figure that out, because that's something that definitely needs to be out on console, because not even just for costume mods and stuff like that, but most of all because the quality of life mods that we have here on the PC version would just be so much better for the console version. And then also that'd be really interesting because then people could actually design mods that were intended for console users more so than the PC users, which could be really cool. I mean, of course, you'd still have to make it for PC first and foremost, but since console is pretty much running the exact same version of Trove anyways, it's not really going to make that much of a difference, and you should be able to make them both work appropriately. So they also said that they're going to introduce a new Bomber Royale map when U10 comes out. They want a new Bomber Royale map to be coming out with every major update or major expansion, as they call them often, with Trove. So we're really hoping that this isn't going to end up being the one that we saw on the test server a little while back, because that map sucked. Like, the new maps that they ended up showing for Bomber Royale were really, really bad. However, there is a lot of really exciting things coming for U10 in that skins for bombs in Bomber Royale might actually come out during the Halloween update. So that's going to be this month on the 23rd, last the devs ended up saying. They said that the Halloween update was going to be showing up then. And potentially we should see some Bomber Royale stuff showing up then, just because a couple of the bombs for Bomber Royale actually have Halloween-themed explosions and Geode-themed explosions and stuff like that. So maybe we'll end up seeing this come out with the U10 update, but honestly, who knows? They also said that a new season of Bomber Royale is right around the corner. As we know, it's kind of meme-worthy to say right around the corner, because they've said in the past around, the release date is right around the corner, and they can just drag that out for months. But the new season Bomber Royale will end up introducing new tokens, which makes me wonder if the current tokens that we've got up to this point are just absolutely useless at that, once the new season comes out. But the new season's gonna have new tokens, new rewards. The old rewards won't go away, but I'm assuming that they're gonna cost the new tokens or something like that. I don't know. And then they're also going to end up including 2 new dragons in the Bomber Royale eventually in the new season, which one of them apparently will actually shoot bouncy balls. So if any of you, or bouncy bombs I should say, which, if you've been in the Bomber Royale, you kind of know the way that those things function, and it'd be kind of cool to have a dragon actually shooting a bouncy bomb you know, out in the world. Like, I think that would actually be pretty interesting. And then last but not least, and this is another bit that's a little bit, you know, a little bit disheartening, but they said that after U10, they will begin planning Geode Phase 3, which, you know, unfortunately confirms that the update that we're getting later in the winter was not delayed so that they could develop it more. It was just delayed because of porting it to console. And, you know, it's kind of a bit of a controversy. I know that a lot of console players end up getting really salty about this, not understanding the meaning that I have behind it. But I still personally think that PC players should have already gotten the U10 update sometime this month in October. And then they could still continue porting the version over to the console version, you know, and then just have it release when it's done in the winter update. Most of all, not because I'm trying to say that the PC version should end up having the update before you guys that are on console, but most of all because I would hope that it would mean that we could bug test this stuff. You know, we could get all of the issues out of the way that clearly are predominant in every big major Trove update, regardless of the test server. You know, look at the Trove improvements update, guys. It's virtually impossible, or at least it was, to even play on the PS4 version of Trove. And to be able to have the improvements update on console maybe a little bit after than the PC version, to me, it means that it would be more worthwhile to end up having that happen if it meant that the version of the game that was going to be on console wasn't going to be nearly as buggy or broken or anything like that, because unfortunately they don't seem to test any of this stuff. But that's just my 2 cents towards it. You know, I know that a lot of the console players are like, man, no, I want to have the same update as the PC version. It's like, it's a PC game first, guys. Clearly you can tell. You know, I'm not trying to say a console versus PC war or anything. I'm saying this for the benefit of everyone playing this game, not just a specific group. But anyways, the cool part is that while they were talking about the Phase 3 of Geode, they also ended up kind of mentioning, and they have been mentioning a little bit more even in their dev live stream, that they are going to be planning for a new class in the future. We don't know any idea what the new class is going to end up being or anything like that, so don't get your hopes up. But we are expecting a new class to most likely show up sometime in 2019. I don't think it's going to be with the first update of 2019. I think the first big update of 2019 is going to be the Geode Phase 3. Originally, and this is why I'm so salty about all this, originally the caving system of Geode was going to be Geode Phase 1. Geode Phase 2 was going to be hitting here October, but then they had to delay it for the console port. And then in winter, we were going to end up getting Geode Phase 3, which was going to end up having the new bosses and everything like that, right? And unfortunately, now that they've pushed Phase 2 to the end of the year, they're going to try and sell it around Christmas. They're going to try and make as much bank as they can off of it. Obviously, that probably is the real reason they're doing it. It's probably not as much of a play with porting it to console, honestly speaking. I just think they're trying to make more money off of it. But the fact is that now Geode Phase 3 with the new boss and everything is probably going to be one of the first updates of 2019, because that's going to be the next major update that they're working on. And I'm not really expecting a new class with that, unless we're going to have a new Geode themed class, which could either be cool or not at the same time. I don't know. But anyways, let me know what your thoughts on it, guys and gals. Would really appreciate it. Always like reading through the comments. You know, it's cool stuff. It's cool stuff. And thanks to TroveSaurus for actually doing the interview. It was really cool of them to do it. And then again, I'll put a link in the description to the actual interview itself, so you guys can read through it all if you want. But otherwise, that's going to do it from me. Thanks for watching. Very much appreciate it. Next video is going to be the one that we're going to be talking about the recent dev stream. And then again, I'll have every separate videos for the people that can't actually watch through like a 40-minute video or however long it's going to be. Thanks for watching, though. Don't forget to like, sub, hit that notification bell. And if you want to support me, you can always sponsor the YouTube channel with that join button down below. Check the description for my merch store, as well as Gawkbox, which is a way that you can actually donate to me for absolutely free. Sign on and stay epic, everybody.